You die on a Tuesday. The office is dark except for the lamp on your desk. The door opens. You don't look up. You know the footsteps, 6 years of them. The man who walks in is the man you hired at 31, mentored at 34, promoted at 37, and trusted at 40. His name is Daniel. He is holding a folder you did not prepare and a pen you did not give him. The folder contains the signatures of 3 board members you ate dinner with last month. The signatures authorize the transfer of your equity into a voting trust controlled by Daniel. You read it twice. You look at him. He doesn't look away. That is the worst part. He doesn't look away. You built a company that employed 340 people across 4 states. You built it from a laptop on a kitchen table in a studio apartment with a radiator that knocked all night. You built it for 12 years. Daniel dismantles it in the time it takes to hand you a pen. You sign, not because he made you, because the structure was already rigged before you sat down. You just didn't see it. You walk out of the building at 11:17 p.m. The parking lot is wet from a rain that fell while you were losing everything. You sit in your car for a long time. You do not cry. You do not call anyone. You sit with the arithmetic of what just happened, and the arithmetic says 0, not almost 0. You are 47 years old. You have $1,400 in a checking account that was once the operating account of a company valued at $14 million. You drive home, you go to sleep, and then you wake up. You wake up. The light is wrong. The ceiling is wrong. The ceiling is a ceiling you have not seen since you were a child. It has a crack shaped like Florida running from the corner of the light fixture to the wall. You know, that crack. You haven't seen it in 31 years. You sit up. The room is your room. The posters are your posters. A band you haven't thought about since you were old enough to drink. A desk with a geometry textbook, open to a page you remember struggling with the first time. A digital clock that says 6:47 a.m. the date underneath. It says the 3rd of September. The year is not the year you went to sleep. The year is the year you were 16 years old. You do not scream. You do not panic. You sit very still on the edge of a bed you thought you had forgotten, and you wait to wake up. You don't. The first rule of the second run. You do not ask why. You do not ask if it is real. You have been given a weapon that most people only dream about. You have been given your life back with the instruction manual already written. The question is not what happened. The question is what you do with the first hour. You get dressed. Your clothes are absurd. You are 16. Your wardrobe is what a 16-year-old in a Midwestern town owns. You don't care. You find your backpack. You find your school ID. Your face is a face you haven't seen online in 3 decades. You look at it for 6 seconds. Then you stop looking. The second rule of the second run. Sentiment is a tax on time. You have time now, but you don't yet know how much of it matters. You go to school, not for the education. You already have an MBA and 12 years of operating experience, burning a hole in your 16-year-old skull. You go to school for information. You need to know what year it is precisely, what has already happened, what is about to happen, and which of the things you remember are already locked in motion. You sit in first period biology, and you do not take notes. You draw a timeline on a blank page. You draw it from memory, the timeline of the next 2 decades. The financial events you watched from the sidelines the first time because you were too young, too broke, too afraid. The first time you were 16 and geometry was your biggest problem. This time geometry is not your biggest problem. This time your biggest problem is that you have $47 in cash, no brokerage account, no legal ability to open one without a parent, and a list in your head of assets that haven't existed yet but will. And when they do, they will make people who got in early richer than entire countries. You need capital. You are 16. You cannot legally work more than 20 hours a week in this state. You check the law at the school library during lunch. The librarian is a woman named Mrs. Garber, who remembers you from middle school. You remember her from the first life when you never spoke to her. This time you ask her how her daughter is. You know her daughter's name because in the first life she was your dental hygienist 17 years from now, and you remember everything. She tells you, you listen. A connection costs nothing, and you are rebuilding a network from zero. The third rule of the second run, information is leverage. Relationships are leverage. You are 16, and your network is the most undervalued asset you own because nobody expects a 16-year-old to have a network. They expect you to have a TikTok account and a vague interest in a sport you don't play. You use this. You are underestimated by default. That is a superpower you will not have when you are 30. You find a job. It is a job bagging groceries at a regional supermarket called Hartman's. The manager is a man named Keith. Keith hired you in the first life too. You were terrible at the job. You called in sick to go to a concert, and he fired you after 3 months. This time, you show up 5 minutes early to the interview. You shake his hand and look him in the eye. You tell him you want to learn the inventory system. He blinks. A 16-year-old just asked him about inventory. You are hired. You work Friday evenings, all day Saturday, and a Sunday afternoon shift. Your take-home is $140 a week. By the standards of your past life, this is a rounding error on a dinner receipt. By the standards of your current life, this is the foundation of an empire. You save $100 of it every single week. You do not buy snacks. You do not buy video games. You eat the free bruised fruit from the back of the store that Keith lets you take because he thinks you are strange and hardworking, and he doesn't have a category for a teenager who asks about inventory systems. The fourth rule of the second run: the price of the future is the absence of the present. You are not 16. You are 47 in a 16-year-old's body, and you are building a bridge with money that nobody sees as money yet. You turn 17. You have $5,200 in cash in a shoebox under your bed because you are too young to open an account that doesn't require a parent cosigner. And your parents in this life are the same parents from the first life. And you remember that giving them visibility into your money is a mistake you will not make. You walk into a local credit union on your 17th birthday. You have researched the minor account laws in your state for 3 weeks. You open a custodial account. Your mother signs the paperwork in the lobby while checking her phone. She does not read the terms. She trusts you. You have been an unusually responsible 17-year-old for exactly 12 months. The account opens. The balance is $5,200. You deposit every dollar. You walk out of the credit union holding a deposit receipt, and the air feels different. It is not excitement. It is the absence of a constraint that has been choking you for a year. You now have an account. You now have a routing number. You now have access. You are 18. The day you turn 18, you close the custodial account and open one in your name alone. You transfer the balance. You have worked for 2 years. You have saved $10,400. You have not spent a single dollar on anything that did not compound. You do not own a car. You walk to work. You walk to school. You walk in the rain. You walk in the snow. You do not care about the cold. You care about the number in the account. The number is the only thing that moves you closer to the moment when you will be ready to deploy it. You open a brokerage account the same day. It takes 17 minutes. The interface is the same interface you remember from the first life, except slower, and the fonts are different, and the confirmation email lands in a Hotmail inbox because you are in a decade where Hotmail still exists. You invest $6,000 into a total market index fund. You do not pick stocks. The fifth rule of the second run: you do not need to beat the market when you already know which decade the market quadruples. You just need to be in it. You buy the index, and you close the browser, and you go to your shift at Hartman's. You are the only person bagging groceries in the greater metropolitan area who also has a $6,000 position in a broad market fund. You are the only person in the store who knows what a basis point is. You stack cans of soup, and you think about compound interest. The gap between what you are and what you appear to be is so wide, it is almost a physical sensation. You graduate high school. Your grades are good, not exceptional. You are not trying to be exceptional. You are trying to be invisible and solvent. You apply to a state university. You do not need a name brand degree. You already have the knowledge. You need the credential because the world you are building toward will require a piece of paper to unlock certain doors. You fill out the FAFSA. You qualify for grants. You take no loans. You have $12,800 in a taxable brokerage, $3,000 in a Roth IRA you open the day after your brokerage account, and zero debt. Your net worth at 18 is roughly $15,800. In the first life at 18, you had a negative net worth of $1,200 and a credit card you didn't understand. The distance between these two versions of you is not measured in dollars. It is measured in the fact that this version of you has already seen the end of the movie and knows exactly which scenes matter and which scenes are just filler. College is a 4-year arbitrage opportunity. You treat it that way. You do not go to parties. You do not join clubs. You take a full course load and you take every business, finance, and accounting elective the university offers. You have already learned all of this material once. You are learning it again for the transcript. The professors think you are a diligent student. You are not diligent. You are farming a credential the way a chess grandmaster plays a simultaneous exhibition against amateurs. You are moving pieces on a board nobody else can see. You work weekends. You add every spare dollar to the index fund. The market is doing what the market does. You watch it rise. You watch it dip. When it dips, you buy more. You have no fear. Fear is a function of uncertainty, and you have almost none. The sixth rule of the second run: volatility is a fee you pay for the return. You already know the return. The fee is irrelevant. You are 21. Your brokerage account holds $31,000. Your Roth IRA holds $9,000. You have a high-yield savings account with $6,000 earning 4.6%. You are a junior in college. You have not told a single person about the money. Your roommate thinks you are broke because you eat oatmeal from a bulk container and you don't have a PlayStation. You let him think that. You are not building a life that requires applause. You are building a life that requires silence. The seventh rule of the second run. When you are small, stay small. The world rewards visible success and punishes visible ambition before it has teeth. You are growing teeth. You are not showing them. You remember the dot-com bubble from the first life. You were too young to participate then and too old to benefit when the survivors rebuilt. But you remember the shape of it. You remember the names that vanished and the names that stayed. You are currently living through the same years, but in a different body with a different balance sheet. You do not try to short anything. Shorting is for people who need to prove they are smart. You just need to be solvent when the crash comes. You stay in the index fund. The market rides up. You know it will fall. You do not sell. You wait. The crash arrives during your senior year. Your portfolio drops from $41,000 to $28,000 in 6 weeks. Your roommate asks if you are okay. You tell him you are fine. You are not fine in the way he means. You are better than fine. You are buying. Every dollar you earn at your part-time job goes into the fund at prices that in 15 years will look like a typo. The floor of the market is not a catastrophe. It is a clearance sale for the only person in the room who knows what the inventory is worth. You buy. You buy. You graduate at 22. Your net worth is $52,000. In the first life at 22, you had a negative net worth of $4,600 and a degree in something you never used. This time you have a degree in finance, 4 years of uninterrupted investment contributions, and a document on your laptop titled Sequence. The document is a timeline. It contains everything you remember. The assets, the bubbles, the regulatory shifts, the election cycles, the tax code changes, the exact month a company you will not name yet goes public at a price that will multiply 17 times in 4 years. You do not show the document to anyone. You do not tell anyone it exists. You are 22. You are working a job you took only for the health insurance while you wait for the first domino in your timeline to fall. The eighth rule of the second run. You are not smarter than everyone. You just have the answer key. The only way to lose is to deviate from the answers. You wait. 2 years pass. You are 24. You are working at a financial services firm in a junior analyst role. You asked for this role specifically. You could have asked for a higher role. You didn't. You wanted access to the databases, the research terminals, the deal flow. You wanted to see what the market was doing through institutional eyes. You supplement your salary with small, precise, perfectly timed trades that your compliance department allows because they are too small to flag. You turn $2,000 into $7,000 into $18,000. Your colleagues think you are lucky. You are not lucky. You are executing a script that was written in a different life by a man who lost everything because he trusted the wrong person. Daniel, you have not seen him in this life yet. You were 6 years older than him in the first life. That means right now he is 18. He is graduating from a high school 3 states away. He will not know you exist for another decade, but you know his name. You know the university he will attend. You know the fraternity he will join. You know the internship he will get. You know the firm where he will work the year before you hire him. You know the exact sequence of events that will deliver him to the chair across from your desk on the day you make the worst decision of your first life. You have a file on him. It is not a file in a drawer. It is a file in your head. And one of the questions you ask yourself late at night when the world is quiet is whether this life is about building your own empire or preventing him from building his. You are not proud of the question, but you ask it. The ninth rule of the second run. Revenge and wealth are both forms of accumulation. One of them carries a tax. The other one doesn't. You do not yet know which tax you are willing to pay. You turn 25. Your net worth is $160,000. The number is not a life-changing number, but the trajectory is becoming visible. You are climbing. In the first life at 25, you had just made your first major financial mistake, a car loan at 11% interest on a vehicle you didn't need. This time, you still don't own a car. You ride a bike. You invest the difference. The bike is old. The chain slips when you go uphill. You fix it yourself. You have learned to fix things. You have learned that most things can be fixed by someone who is willing to read the manual. Most people don't read the manual. You do. You read everything. A housing crisis is coming. The timeline says so. You are 27 when it begins. You have been saving for 6 years in preparation for this single event. Your brokerage account holds $210,000. Your cash reserves are $45,000. The crisis arrives. Foreclosures spike. Prices collapse. You spend 4 months researching markets, neighborhoods, zip codes. You drive to properties on weekends. You walk through houses with a clipboard and a moisture meter. You are 27 and you look 21. Real estate agents do not take you seriously. You do not need them to take you seriously. You need them to open the lockbox. You buy your first property, a 3-unit triplex in a city that will almost triple in population over the next 15 years. Purchase price, $94,000. Down payment, $18,800. You pay cash for the cosmetic repairs, $7,200. 2 units, rent immediately. You live in the 3rd unit. The tenants pay the mortgage and most of the utilities. You are living for less than $200 a month. Your housing cost in the first life at this age was $1,100 a month. The difference is $900 a month that goes into the brokerage account. Over a year, that is nearly $11,000. Over a decade compounded, it is 6 figures. One decision, one property, one unwillingness to pay rent to someone else when you could own the building. You are 30. Your triplex has appreciated. Your equity position is $68,000. You have a second property under contract. Your brokerage account sits at $380,000. Your Roth IRA is at $64,000. Your total net worth is approaching $600,000. In the first life at 30, you had a net worth of roughly $40,000 and were working 60-hour weeks for a company that did not care if you burned out. This time you are working for yourself. You quit the analyst job 2 years ago. You run a small property management company that you started with the cash flow from the triplex. You manage your own properties and a few others. The income is modest, but stable. The real income is the time. Time to research, time to think, time to position, time to wait. The 10th rule of the second run, wealth is leverage. Leverage requires time. Time requires a life cheap enough that nobody owns your hours. You are 32. You see Daniel enter the industry. You catch his name on a press release from a competitor firm, junior associate. He is exactly on schedule. You read the press release twice. You close the browser. You sit in your living room, which is also the living room of the triplex, and you feel something you did not expect. It is not anger. Anger you have had for 16 years. It is something quieter. It is the realization that you are so far ahead of the person who destroyed you that the revenge you imagine no longer fits. You are not the man he betrays. You are not the executive sitting alone in a dark office signing away his life's work. You are 32 and you own assets that will compound into a level of wealth that your first self could not have imagined at this age. The distance between you and Daniel is not adversarial. It is irrelevant. He is an ant on the timeline of your life. You could step on him, but you don't need to. The 11th rule of the second run. The best revenge is not destruction. It is irrelevance. You do not hire him. When the moment arrives, when the search firm sends you his resume for a senior role at your growing company, you read it. His qualifications are the same. His cover letter is well written. You would be an asset. You write a polite rejection email. You do not explain. You do not reference the first life. You simply decline. He goes to a competitor. 4 years later, you hear that the competitor's division he was running was restructured. He was let go. 80 people lost their jobs. You feel nothing specific, not satisfaction, not pity. The machine turns. You are just no longer in front of it. You turn 40. Your real estate portfolio consists of 8 properties. Your brokerage accounts combined hold $2.3 million. Your net worth is north of $3.4 million. You generate roughly $11,000 a month in passive income. You do not work a traditional job. You manage your investments. You serve on 2 boards. You spend your mornings reading and your afternoons on a tennis court because your body is 40 and you have decided to take care of it this time. In the first life, you were divorced at 41 and the settlement cost you 40% of what you had. This time, you are married to a woman you met at a real estate investment group 6 years ago. It is not a coincidence. In the first life, you saw her from across a room at a conference and you were too afraid to introduce yourself. This time, you walked directly across the carpet and asked her what she thought of the speaker. She told you the speaker was wrong about cap rates and you fell in love in the time it takes to check a yield calculation. The 12th rule of the second run. You don't need to change everything, just the things that mattered.